Stacey Elliott here, and I cannot wait to talk to you more about macronutrients and why we count them and what they are and what it means for our health and fitness journey. So stay tuned. So since I've been utilizing a more low-carb, high-fat lifestyle, I have started counting macros or macronutrients. And this concept was really foreign to me when I got started. All I knew about was calories, right? Calories kind of were the way to track, and weight loss therefore was the deficit of calories in versus calories out. But now we know, and let's be honest, it just makes sense that not all calories are really created equal, right? And so with macros or macronutrients, we can count the different types and the different qualities of all of those building blocks of our diet. So those macronutrients, as they are referred to, are actually the things that our body uses for energy. So today I'm going to talk to you everything about macronutrients, how they affect the body, how you can track them, how they can help you regulate your weight, your blood sugar, your mood, your energy, your hormones, everything. And so we're going to start with the basics. So there's really three different types of macronutrients. You've got fat, you've got protein, and you've got carbs, right? That's it. Those are the three building blocks of your health and fitness. So when you hear about people tracking their macros, what they're talking about is tracking the percentages of those three macronutrients in their diet. So they're counting the percentages of their fat, their carbs, and their protein. So when it comes to permanent weight loss, when it comes to healing your body from the inside out, counting and tracking macros is way more effective than the concept of calorie counting. So I'm going to actually show you how to count your macros and give you a tool to utilize so that it makes it very, very easy at the end. So stay tuned for that. But first, I'm really ready to dig in with you and talk to you about all of those macronutrients, right? So the first one I want to talk about is fat. So fat has gotten a really bad rap in the past, and we are finally waking up to some new research and new knowledge. But I have to let you know that eating fat does not make you fat, just like eating sugar doesn't make you a sweet person, right? As a matter of fact, it's actually sugar in excess that we are realizing is what packs on the pounds. So fats are actually the building blocks of our hormones. They help lubricate our joints. They help us look, feel, think better, and more clearly, and they help us function at a higher level, right? They are essential to the absorption of vitamins and different nutrients from our food. And since we know that inflammation is really the root cause of most diseases, it only makes sense that if you're trying to heal your body with food, which, food is medicine, that you want to eat fats that give you this anti-inflammatory effect, just like fat does. So fat is your friend. Number two, the second macronutrient that you will eat in your diet is protein, right? So it's actually broken down into amino acids, and it's helped to, build muscle, among other things, and repair muscle, right? Which most of us already know. So it also makes enzymes and hormones to help you stimulate hair growth, nail growth, muscle and tissue development, helps your immune system, helps support your immune system, and a lot more. So we need this macronutrient just as well. And it also helps keep us satiated. Just like fat does, protein can really help with that in our diet. Just as a side note, most of us get our protein from animal sources, but you can be a vegan and still get the amount of protein that you need from plant-based sources. So like nuts, seeds, legumes, soy, tempeh, things like that. The third and final macronutrient is carbs. And we've always thought that carbs was the only way, glucose was the only way to fuel your body. But as you guys have probably been learning, as you stumbled upon this new lifestyle, that that's just not the case. And that ketones can provide a far superior fuel source for our bodies than even glucose can. Now, this isn't to say that carbs are necessarily evil, because they're not, and they can provide us some great quick energy. The problem is that our diets are so carb laden that they are starting to produce problems in our society. When I talk to most people and ask them how much sugar they're consuming, they say not very much, and they don't realize that carbs are in everything. We're not just talking sweets and sugars, we're talking about breads, pastas, cereals. Carbs are in every everyday food that we eat. Something to really note is that carbs give us instant energy because of the response that our body creates when we eat it. So remember that when our blood sugar rises, glucose signals our insulin to increase, right? So insulin's job is to allow glucose into each cell, right? It's kind of like the gatekeeper. So think of insulin as that person who opens the door and says, hey, who are you? And insulin's like, hey, can I get in? And the gatekeeper's like, sure, come on in. The problem occurs is when our carbs and our glucose level is way too high. And what happens is that insulin messenger starts getting lazy or tired or doesn't really want to respond anymore. And our bodies start becoming insulin resistant. And this is what can lead to diabetes. Now, remember that we have been ingrained with this idea and this thought and this recommendation to eat carbs for energy, that fat is bad, that fat makes us fat. And that food pyramid that we've always utilized, now we know we gotta flip it on its head, right? So now we have all this knowledge about these macronutrients, and now we're ready to track them, right? So one of the easiest ways that I can help you out with that is by sending you to an app called MyFitnessPal. And you just go into your app store. I don't know if you're an iPhone user or an Android user, but in your app store, you can find it right there. You want to download that. I love MyFitnessPal app because it has a huge database. So anything that you can eat is gonna be already inserted into that database, and it's gonna know all of the macronutrients associated with that food. So you can just simply scan the barcode on it, or you can type it into the database, and it will recognize it and give you an actual breakdown of the macronutrients of each food that you consume. So you may be asking, where do I start? So you start by utilizing a Keto Calculator. There's a link down below this video where you can go in and figure out your calorie goal. Now this goal is just a base, and it's just a guideline to get you started. Remember that I don't want to get you into a dieter's mentality. And in fact, once you start eating more healthy fats, you are going to decrease those cravings and those hunger cues very substantially. And so you're going to be hungry less once you get the rhythm of this down. But as for now, we are going to set up our macronutrients in a very specific way. So we have our calorie range, and then we're gonna go in and we're gonna set up our specific macronutrients instead of calories to certain percentages. We're gonna start with our carbohydrates being somewhere between 5 and 10% of your calories, your protein between 15 and 20% of your calories, and your fats at about 70, 75, 80% of your calories. Now that is just a starting point, and I can tell you that when I started, I really shot for those macronutrient ranges, but now since I've been doing this for quite a while, I eat very intuitively, and I know when my body needs this or that. So just remember that this is really tailored for your goals. And remember that maybe I can intake more carbs without raising that insulin level than, you know, somebody who can look at a bowl of rice and spike their insulin sky high, right? So there's gonna be differences for each person, and this is not a one-size-fits-all journey. So what I would suggest is just trial and error and giving yourself that grace and realizing that every day is a fail forward moment. So let's say one day you eat an apple and you realize just how many carbs and sugar is in that actual apple. And so the next day you know, and you tweak and you move forward, and every day you progress into those macronutrient levels that are going to make you feel good. You're gonna have more energy, you're gonna have more clarity, you're gonna have better sleep, you're gonna have less cravings. So these are all designed to help you actually live an optimal life. And another really cool thing about this app is that you don't have to ask what you can eat, right? You know your ranges, you know what you've eaten for the day, and every time you eat something, when you track it, it deducts it from the day's total, and you know exactly how much you have left to hit your goals for that day. And once you can see it in that pie graph below on the MyFitnessPal app, it's really neat to see how close you are to your goals and adjust, and see how you feel as you adjust and move on. All right, guys, so I think that's about all I can tell you about macronutrients, why we are now tracking those, how you can track those very simply in MyFitnessPal app. Again, down below this video, I'm going to have a link to a page where it's going to give you instructions on how to get MyFitnessPal and how to set up your macronutrients for that app. And again, before I go, make sure to start slow. That's how you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. And if you throw yourself into a diet mentality, you will fail every time. So remember that you're looking for increased optimal health, and that you're gonna start feeling better every single day, and just start working little steps as you go. Maybe start with some keto type recipes to get started, and then gradually move your macros in the right direction, and you will be feeling so much better. I cannot wait for you to experience all of the amazing results that I've had with the change in my diet and my nutrition. And guys, if this video was helpful for you, make sure you subscribe so you're not missing any more of my videos, and like or comment with any questions that you guys have so that I can address those in a future video as well. I'll talk to you guys really soon. Night.